Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you guys are new. I'm Aaliyah. To jump right into this video, today we're talking about my 2-month postpartum update. So I had an appointment to get an IUD put in. That was the form of birth control that Garrett and I personally thought would work best for us for a few reasons. One, you know, with my hectic lifestyle and everything that's going on, and I am a very forgetful person, we kind of decided that, you know, taking the pill would probably not be the best choice for us. Also, I've been on the patch before, and you know, that kind of form of birth control, it wasn't bad, but it just didn't really work for us. What I like about the IUD is that it is something that will last for years and that I can get it taken out at any time. And it is, I think, the most effective form of birth control out there right now. But speaking of periods, I did get my period, and so far they have been very routine. Before I got pregnant, my periods were extremely irregular. I'm talking like my cycle would be like 8 weeks instead of 4, and sometimes even longer than that. Sometimes I would skip several months at a time. Sometimes I would get a period 2 weeks after I just got my last period. But the majority of the time, it was about 6 to 8 weeks in my cycle, and it was really erratic. So it actually took me a while to realize I was pregnant with Jace, because I was so used to having like my periods skipped all the time. I never in my life have had a consistent period. But after giving birth and after getting this birth control, I've noticed my periods have been consistent. I had one period before I got it placed. I think it was exactly 2 months after Jace was born, and I'm probably due for another one next week, because right now it's about 11 weeks. Jace is 11 years old, so when Jace was 8 weeks, I got my period like on the day he was 8 weeks old. So with that being said, my period has come back. I know that some women don't get their period for a longer periods of time. It really depends on if you decide to breastfeed or not, or if you're combining formula. If you guys watched my previous video, you know that I had problems with mastitis, and at that time they weren't sure what it was, so they told me to stop breastfeeding, which was probably one of the worst decisions that could have been made, because I lost out on several days. Because I lost out on so many days, my milk supply really decreased. And meanwhile, when Jace was with our family members, he was eating even more formula than I was able to produce at that time with my own breast milk. So since then, we've been trying to play a catch up in trying to get more breast milk and less formula, but it's been incredibly hard because his appetite is very ravenous. And another thing I have learned is that I have slow letdown, which means that your milk doesn't come in right away when the baby starts sucking. So on the bottle, on the other hand, when Jay starts sucking on his bottle, the milk is instantaneous. But when I nurse him, he has to suck for a while before the milk will come down. It'll take like about 2 minutes or so. So that has also been a struggle, because he just screams and cries and he wants the bottle because he can get that instantaneous gratification. And it's also just been so hard to keep up with the producing as he's growing and as he's needing more, to keep up with that. I have gotten fenugreek, and I think it has helped me actually, not tremendously, like it's not a miraculous, you know, wonder drug, but it is a supplement that I have found has given me just a little bit more milk and has helped me be consistent. He is at this point about 50-50, and I don't really pump that much because I was talking to lots of different people about nursing and how to produce more milk, and a lot of them kept saying skin to skin, you know, if the traditional methods weren't working for me. For example, I was pumping, I was doing a lot of stuff, and I really didn't see that much of an increase. I've tried several different things, but the skin to skin, I think, actually has helped me some of the most in producing more milk. So a lot of the times I just like to nurse Jace because of that bonding time. I feel like my body produces more, so I don't really pump as much. I will if I know that he's going to be away for a period of time. So I don't know exactly how much I'm producing, but I know it's very small. But I just know in his poop, I can see that there's a mixture of both that he's getting, and it seems to be 50-50. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, basically if your baby's on formula or your baby's being breastfed, it's 2 different types of poop. So when they're formula fed, they have like a green, thicker poop, and it's smells a lot worse than the breast milk poop, but when they are just being breastfed, it's more of like an orangey tan color, and there's lots of like what looks like little seeds in their poop. So it's really easy to distinguish the differences between the poops, and I've noticed a huge mixture of them both incorporated, so that has been a huge plus for me. But to all the women out there who can't breastfeed or chose not to breastfeed, don't feel bad about yourself. I remember feeling terrible about myself because I just felt like I wasn't enough for my son. I can't tell you how many times I sat there at night and cried because I would be feeding him and he would cry and scream because I wasn't giving him enough and he needed more and I couldn't sustain him. It was such a terrible feeling to me. But I think it's more about the stigma that we as mothers place on other women and their children, and it's really sad actually that we can't unite and be these wonderful caring people that we were meant to be with each other. Instead, a lot of the times I notice so many women look down at other mothers and want to criticize other mothers instead of embracing them and enjoying and experiences together. That's something that I've noticed has kind of switched for me. Like during pregnancy, I noticed a lot of women, came up to me and wanted to share their experiences and their stories, and it was so beautiful. It was just kind of like the sisterhood that I loved. And now that I'm a mother, I still get the same kind of reaction sometimes, and I still get the story sometimes, but I notice that a lot of the times, if I'm sharing my experiences and what I'm doing with my child, it's way more judgmental because there's so many different opinions that moms have, and a lot of them are very, very opinionated. So it's really challenging to be positive and be happy when all these people and all from nowhere just criticize you about your decisions, whether or not you even chose to make them, or if you just simply can't do something like you can't breastfeed. And that has been a serious struggle for me, so I hope in the future that's something that will change. It has been really, really tough. If you guys haven't watched my labor and delivery video, I'll leave that linked up here in the cards as well. Or my first postpartum update. I really encourage you guys to go watch that video. As I talked about in my first postpartum update, I did tear a little bit, and they did stitch me up, and I do have a scar on the inside now. The doctor said it was healing fine though, and it shouldn't be any cause of concern. I do have to go back in 5 weeks just to see how it was with the IUD after having my first period on the IUD, to see if I bled or anything like that, or if I will bleed at all. At this point, I've begun to kind of start exercising a little bit, and I'm not dieting per se, I'm just trying to eat cleaner. I'm not limiting my intake and the amount of food I'm eating. I'm just trying to make healthier choices so I can begin to kind of lose weight. And I'll be real with you guys, and I'll keep it real. I know a lot of women out there worry about, kind of not being, the same as they were before they gave birth. But I can honestly tell you guys, like, giving birth is like a miraculous experience. Like, you'd be really surprised at how quick it will bounce back. I'm telling you guys. You think having a baby would be something where everything was kind of forever changed down there, which it is, and obviously right away after you give birth, it's not gonna just snap back. It's gonna take some time. For me, I did experience a lot of pain, and if you guys do have a scar in particular, like I said, mine is internal, so I can't speak for any other type of scars, but it's really painful. It does kind of feel like a ripping sensation, like a tearing sensation, so it can be extremely painful. I also remember talking about constipation in my first video. Oh my god, let me tell you guys, like, I'm just getting over it now, but I can tell you guys honestly, no exaggeration, I had constipation, really bad constipation, where I was taking 3 stool softeners a day and I was still ripping and bleeding every time I went to the bathroom. It was absolutely horrific. A lot of the times it felt like I was being ripped open. Sometimes I would cry or wail. It was really, really painful and uncomfortable, and I can honestly say it lasted a good 10 weeks, no exaggeration, 10 weeks, guys. It was so awful. I've even had times where I couldn't pass it at all. I needed to get a laxative to kind of really break everything up and just flush it out of me, guys. It was so awful. So that is something I'm just getting over thank God. It was a nightmare. I can't even tell you. I would dread going to the bathroom. I would try to put it off. I was so afraid to go because I was so tired of feeling a rip, you know, and seeing the blood. It was just really bad. But finally that is over, and I'm really starting to feel myself go back to how I used to be again. Obviously, body-wise, there's still a couple of things that I'm not happy about, but I think every woman goes through that phase in that process. You know, your body just went through a pregnancy and gave birth to a baby, so not everything is going to heal very fast, and not everything's going to bounce back that fast. But in terms of like my stomach, I do have a lot of stretch marks, so I'm still very self-conscious about that, and my stomach doesn't look like it used to beforehand. But like I said, with exercise and with time, I'm hoping that I can go back to some form of my former self. But other than that, I feel like my hormones are finally stabilized. I don't really feel that moody anymore or upset. Other than getting a lack of sleep, obviously, I feel more like myself again. Oh, and I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering about the biopsy. I remember talking about it in my 38-week update where I told you guys that I need to go back in 6 months and have it re-examined. So around September, I'm probably gonna go and have another biopsy done. And I do know that that lump is still there, so it hasn't completely gone away yet. So I'm wondering if it isn't the lactating adenoma after all. It's still there. I haven't really felt any changes in size or shape or anything like that, but I'll be giving you guys updates about that as I go along. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.